Hey guys, it's Matt here, and today I'm doing another episode of Matt Rants. So, I was not going to talk about this topic when I first heard about it, and the reason why is because I thought this was just another situation where someone overreacted to getting screwed over by GameStop and not getting good trade-in value or good cash credit, any kind of money back for your return. And I kind of sat there and I was like, join the club. I'm sure there's a membership club just for people who get screwed over by GameStop. Get in line, right? You can get your credit. You can become part of the club because that's kind of what I thought it was. Then I saw the video, and then I saw other YouTubers' reactions to the video, and they were not good. And I was sitting there and I was like, is this really what we're going to do here? Or if I don't talk about this, is this when people try to look up what actually happened or things like that? We're just going to have videos where people are just misgendering this person and are just generally being mean to this person and people in the entire, not just trans community, but even LGBTQ community as a whole, just because of the way she reacted in this video. I was not a fan of that. So I want to start this off before I talk about the facts of the video, which it is kind of hard to see and hear what's going on in the video because it was taken from a cell phone and it was taken from neither party that was actually originally involved in the dispute. So, and it will be linked down below. Some link to it will be down in the description box down below so you can watch it as well. But I'll be doing some commentary over it as we discuss it, but it won't be in the video itself. So before I mention that though and talk about, different stuff about the video, I want to say that if you're watching this video and you're in the LGBTQ plus community, you're safe here. I will not be allowing slurs to be in the comment section down below. I will be removing that immediately. Now, if you want to have a discussion about this person in the video down below, you totally can. If you're either in the community or not in the community, that's fine. There's nothing wrong about us having a discussion and a dialogue. But if you're just going to be down there and misgender her or generally just say stuff about the community as a whole, negative things about the community as a whole, because of what this one person did in one video, no, not going to allow that, not going to let that happen. I would love to have a dialogue with you, but throwing around slurs isn't really a dialogue. I'm just putting that out there. So I just want to put that out there in the beginning of the video. Now let's actually talk about the meat and potatoes and what actually happened here. So the video starts off, and when it starts off, this woman she is a trans woman, she's already mad. So as far as we know, she's already mad, and she's mad seemingly because whatever game she was trying to bring in, she was only going to get trade-in value for it. Looking at the person behind the counter, he's a young man. I don't know his gender. He's seemingly a young man who is very timid, seemingly. He might be 18, 19 years old, looks very young, looks very timid. And at this point, as far as we know, there was no misgendering, nobody. The only issue is, as far as we know, she is extremely mad and very mad, to be quite frank, very mad over the fact that he is not going to give her trade-in value give her cash because she wants cash over trade-in value. Now, here's the thing. The thing is this, right? So I don't know if this person has ever shopped at GameStop before. Again, I made that joke earlier about joining the club. There probably is a gamers non-rewards club. Because yeah, that happens at GameStop a lot. So I don't know what's going on with her, if she's ever been to a GameStop before, but either way, she's extremely upset from the get-go. Now, here's where things take a turn for the worse. So seemingly the person recording the video, although it might have been another passerby, person online, then misgenders her and calls her a man. Now, here's the thing. She seemingly does not work at GameStop. Either, of course, the person being upset about the trade-in value and this other person. So she seemingly gets extremely upset about being misgendered, which, no shit, if anyone doesn't know, that's going to upset somebody, right? It's going to upset somebody if you're getting misgendered. But at the same time, I don't think this person, when you walk into a room, you don't announce your gender. And she doesn't know this person, and she doesn't know that this person did definitely misgender her, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, this person seemingly did not work at GameStop. If we find out that she worked at GameStop, then that does reflect poorly on GameStop, and I understand why she was then upset at the person behind the counter as well. Now, here's where things change up as well. She claims that the guy behind the counter misgendered her as well. The problem is that is very hard to hear in the video, and I don't know how to comment about that because she says, "Oh, you misgendered me," and he says, "No, I said the both of you," which I heard the both of you. So I think that maybe at this point in the video, she misheard the guy behind the counter and thought he was misgendering her, which of course, as a GameStop employee, you shouldn't be doing that. And he definitely, or not even just him, just GameStop in general should have better training to make sure that it doesn't take, it's not that hard to say, "Excuse me," and not have a sir or ma'am at the end of it. There's nothing wrong with saying, "Oh, excuse me, could you wait there a second, excuse me." You don't have to say, "Excuse me, sir, excuse me, ma'am." Literally just cutting that out is also saving time and being efficient. And it also is gender inclusive. You don't have to say, "Excuse they," or anything like that. No, it's just, "Excuse me, person." You don't have to say person. Just the assumed person that you're talking to is already there by just saying "excuse me." So I think that GameStop should have better training, because if you guys haven't seen the video yet, here's where things get dicey. Then this guy behind the counter, being so shaken by her yelling, her being the first woman, and just in general, just, it's the holiday rush. I'm sure he's stressed around the holidays as well. He then misgenders her, which is like, dude, holy crap, what are you doing? What are you doing? You literally just heard her say, "Hey, I'm a ma'am, do not call me sir," to the other person online, and now all of a sudden we have him behind the counter saying "sir." Oh God. I mean, look, I'm not trying to excuse him, because I don't want to sit there and be like, "Oh, it's the holiday season. Of course you're allowed to misgender people around the holiday season." Like, what the fuck? No, you're not. But at the same time, I only bring up the fact that even when we start the video up, he doesn't control the trade-in prices. Like, even starting the video up, unless we learn that there was some misgendering before the video took place, the video starts out with this woman extremely upset over something that is completely out of this dude's control. Now, should he have misgendered her for, her being angry? Fuck no. What's your problem? Like, no, he shouldn't have. We should not be judging trans people, or frankly anyone on that matter, judge them by what we call them based on their, how they're acting. Now, some of you guys might be like, "But Matt, I'll call someone a jackass all day." And that's fair. I'm not saying you can't say, "Hey, you're acting like a petulant child, a baby, a terrible person, etc., etc." You can throw those labels around if you want, but someone's actual identity doesn't tie into how nicely they're acting that day, and how you get to treat them based on how nice they're acting. They're not animals. They're not dogs. We're not training people here. "Well, you be nice to me, otherwise I won't gender you properly." It's like, no, fuck off. So at the end of the day, he should not in any way, and it's something that I shouldn't have to say in 2019, but here we are, and here I am saying it, because there are still people online saying, "Well, he was trying to be nice to her, and then she was being mean to him, so he's allowed to call her a man." No, he's not. So at the end of the day, I do think that, here's the thing though, maybe I'm being too nice to this guy behind the counter. I think he truly slipped up. I think he's just a young kid who, because I don't know what the laws are in whatever state this happened in. For all I know, you can hire 16 years old, kids who are 16 years old, 17 years old. And these kids I'm not trying to be mean to 16 and 17 year olds. I've worked with teenagers before as speech and debate coach, but not all of them are the picture of maturity. Hey, sometimes some of them are a little shaky, especially with debate. You're trying to teach them how to get out of their shell. Sometimes in the first year there, they're like, point A, and it's like, oh God, you love them, they're great kids, but like, you got to break them out of that shell. And I don't know this person's story. I don't know how old they are. I don't know what they're doing with their lives. And hell, this could have been they could have just been hired seasonal, and they could have been like, "Look, I don't know what's going on at all." So clearly he made a mistake. The guy behind the counter made a mistake. And at this point, understandably, the woman who is misgendered gets upset, but then she does some things that I'm not going to excuse. And frankly, if anyone out there in the video thus far thinks, "Well, because you're not misgendering her, you're excusing all of her actions," no, that's not how any of this works. When she kicked that display, look, I know I'm not trans and I'm not in the trans community, but we still have to acknowledge that you can't do that. You can't kick that display, and you can't do that because someone misgendered you. Now, at this point, yes, it was the employee that misgendered her, but at the end of the day, you can't do that. And then at the end of the video, as she's walking out, she tries to drag in the entire LGBTQ plus community and says that I'm going to say that you guys aren't trans friendly or you aren't LGBTQ friendly because you misgendered me, which I understand where that person is coming from at this point, but we do have to acknowledge that the first person who misgendered her was someone who seemingly did not work at GameStop. Again, we don't see that person on camera, but I thought I saw their arm a little bit, if I remember correctly, because again, it's a cell phone video, very hard to see, but it doesn't seem like that person is wearing a GameStop shirt and that they're actually employed by GameStop, which means that this is a random person who you should get, like, maybe she was upset, understandably so. She's like, well, why is this person not being kicked out of GameStop immediately for misgendering me? But again, at the end of the day, while you should be, and I say you as the general you, just people, should be trying to speak in terms that are less gendering, oh, hello, and then not, hello, ma'am, madam, sir. You can just say hello. And it's funny, actually. So I have long hair, and this is why it's funny to me, not funny to any of you out there who have been misgendered, but to me. So I have long hair. I'm a man, but I don't really give a crap about gender roles because what are they really? I care more about sushi rolls. So I was sitting at work, and because I work for a debate league, and one of the younger students, I don't work with kids specifically anymore, but I work at a debate league, and a kid came up to me and said, "Excuse me, miss," and then saw me, and like, by the way, I have a huge, if you don't know right now, maybe you're new to the channel, I have a huge beard, and she was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, dude, I really don't care. If you need something, I will help you. Like, this is so much, there's so many more important things. I need to be doing my job right now. I'm not going to get upset that you called me miss instead of sir. Who cares? But I am a sir, but who cares? So, but when it comes, for me, but that's me personally, because I have that privilege to be able to say, who cares? I'm a sir. Who cares? But in a situation like this, of course, I can understand her being upset that this other woman wasn't thrown out immediately. But what I'm trying to get at here in particular is, if you don't know, like, I would feel more uncomfortable. And look, I know I'm not you guys, but I would feel more uncomfortable with a family member who knows my situation if I was trans or if I was non-binary, and who knew my situation, dead naming me or misgendering me when they know who I really am, versus someone on the street. So I think what happened is, and this is just my take on it, she was already understandably upset due to GameStop's terrible policies, that she then went very far off the deep end due to something that would normally upset anyone in the trans community, but at this point she was already extremely upset. Now, what's my take on her? Again, not interested in misgendering, not interested in saying, well, that's just trans people, because what the fuck, right? But at the end of the day, though, I do think that she needs therapy. And again, some people are going to be like, we got him. She needs therapy because she's trans, right? No, she doesn't. She's her best self in terms of who she identifies as and who she is. She is her, and we're not going to take that away from her, trying to claim that it's some mental illness, because that's not true. But at the end of the day, though, those anger issues are definitely a huge problem, because look, she might have been having a bad day as well. Everyone has bad days, but to react that way in the beginning of the video, assuming that, we don't know how long she was there, we don't know how long she was trying to negotiate with this dude about trying to get that money, but he doesn't create the policies, GameStop does, and GameStop has a terrible policy, and if you don't like it, you can walk out. So even the anger where it was at the beginning, where she was at the beginning, felt like that was a 10 already, and then she took it higher. And again, I'm understanding, other than when she did property damage, I understand why she took it higher at that point, because misgendering is wrong, and that's a huge issue in any community, really. But at the same time, though, where she started off, in my head, I think that she needs therapy. Now, some of you might be like, but Matt, that still sounds really wrong. But you have to know where I'm coming from here. I have depression, I have anxiety, and I'm not here to demonize mental illness overall. I'm just here to say that every one of us, even if you don't have depression or anxiety, every one of us needs therapy. And to sit down and to talk to a professional about different coping mechanisms and how you could try not to overreact to something as simple as not getting trade in value. When it comes to things that are a lot more personal to you, I'm not going to sit there as someone who's not trans and be like, she shouldn't have reacted that way to being misgendered, because who am I to say that about her? But when it comes to the fact that you start off the video, and I've only seen one video about this, maybe there's others that are longer, but the video that I saw, she started out at a 10 because of not being able to get that traded or get money, and only got trade in value from GameStop. So at the end of the day, I think that she does need therapy for that and for that alone. And when it comes to the dude behind the counter, I mentioned this earlier in passing, but I do think that GameStop potentially might need better training. Now, I don't think he should be fired. Some people might be calling for him to be fired. I disagree entirely, because I heard his voice and he did not sound like, and again, I don't know this dude, but it didn't sound like he was like, excuse me, sir. Like, I said, sir. He didn't sound that way. He sounded like he was like, sorry, sir. I mean, madam. I mean, oh, God. Because at this point, he's dealing with a situation that maybe he hasn't dealt with before. Now, again, this is where training should come in, and this is where a dialogue should come in. But training that he hasn't had before, or experience that he hasn't had before, or even if he has had that experience before, he's just so flustered because this woman is screaming very loud at this dude. So he's clearly flustered, and he seemingly, because I think I couldn't see the face of the person, but I'm pretty sure we could see more people online, so it wasn't just this one woman online having a one-on-one with this guy. There were other people online. It looked like only one register was open. So I just think that this person behind the counter was just generally messed up, and I don't think he should lose his job over this. I do think that there should be a training. I do think GameStop should have better training over this. Many places definitely should, because I think that she should have never been misgendered, but she definitely should have been immediately thrown out of the store. Though, like, the second that she yelled at him, there shouldn't even have been time for this other woman to misgender her. It should have been, all right, you leave the store. And then if she wants to say, oh, is it an LGBTQ plus thing? And it's like, no, you were yelling at us very loudly. Please don't do that, ma'am. If you are going to gender, use the proper one. But still, I don't think you even had to in conversation. No one in that conversation had to use anybody's gender pronoun, any gender pronoun, because frankly, what mattered was, in my opinion, what should have mattered until that woman and then that guy behind the counter ended up saying what they said, what mattered is she was yelling at a GameStop that to an employee that God knows what state he's in, God knows how much he makes. He makes minimum wage, but depending on the state, that minimum wage is very low. So that dude is getting paid very little to get yelled at, not just by her, but by a lot of other people. I know it's in his job description, but it's still a shitty thing to do, because retail workers are people too, and I don't think we should be talking down to retail workers just because they can't give you what they want, what you would want, to get, because again, it's company policy. They're not the ones making the policy. So at the end of the day, though, I want to hear what you guys have to think. Again, if you want to have a discussion, if you actually have questions about the trans community, I'll tell you what I've heard from other people in the community and also from what I've read up online. I'm not saying we can't have a dialogue down below. I'm just saying that if you're going to sit there and be like, well, he, and yes, he as a man, is, you're going to get, comments going to get deleted. You're not going to get blocked. You can comment on other stuff that we've done, but that, that specific comment will be deleted. That's just how this video is going to be. Not every video is going to be like this, but this one in particular, that's how it's going to be. So either way, though, I do want to hear what you guys have to say. I really do. Like, I would love to hear you guys be like, I think that she was completely right. I don't know if I'd agree with that, but I think she was completely right no matter what she did. Or the opposite. I think she was completely wrong no matter what she did. Even if you think it's not a big deal to be misgendered. Again, I disagree with you, but that's much different than actually misgendering her in your rant against her. So, either way, though, if you like this video, you can like and subscribe. If you don't like the video, you can still like and subscribe either way. I mean, you can dislike too. Don't get me wrong. And if you want to subscribe and hate watch all of our content, that's fair too. I'm not going to judge you. I won't judge you. So, love you all. Take care. Tune in next time for another episode of Matt Rants. All right, guys. So, see ya.